whether you work in government or nonprofits or business or military, anywhere you work, I think you'll see that these leadership lessons apply, and I'll make the direct connections with you. Everything we'll talk about is research-based. It's because she's so sincere. When she's sitting on that little Midwestern farm singing that song, don't you absolutely believe that she believes there's a better place over the rainbow? We're going to connect this idea of being sincere to how you recruit and hire the best people to come work with you in your organization. Let me explain. Howard Gardner taught at Harvard University, and he developed the theory of multiple intelligences, which I bet many of you have heard of. He says there's more than one way of being smart. We tend to reduce being intellectual or smart to reading and math, you know, what the SATs measure. But there's all these other ways of being smart. Two of the least talked about are what he called interpersonal intelligence. That is the ability to work with others and to understand what other people are thinking and feeling. And intrapersonal intelligence, which is the ability to reflect and think very deeply. Now, Daniel Goleman was a writer who saw those, and he coined a phrase to capture that combination of inter and intrapersonal intelligence. He calls it emotional intelligence. You've heard of that too, right? It was a big best-selling book for a while. The key to people who are successful in life, they have emotional intelligence for the most part. And the key to having emotional intelligence is one quality, and that is empathy. The ability to stand in somebody else's shoes and to understand what they're thinking and feeling, and then to treat them accordingly. Lisa Delpit is a professor who has won all kinds of awards. She won the MacArthur Genius Award for her work on cultural proficiency. I heard her give a lecture once, and she said, it's humbling to put yourself in somebody else's shoes, especially if that person doesn't share some of the same characteristics as you. I mean, she's a MacArthur Genius Award-winning author, and she talks about the humility of trying to understand what another person is thinking and feeling. But that's what it takes to be a good leader. That's the first quality. Now, how can you use that if you are hiring people? You want to get the best people to work in your organization. How can you do it? You know, most of the time when you recruit people and then you bring them in for an interview, the people who are the hiring manager, say, or the boss, they think that they're in charge. They believe that they are looking at these candidates. But you know what the other part of the truth is? The candidates are judging you. Really good prospective employees are deciding in the interview whether they want to work with you in your organization. But if you have a heightened sense of emotional intelligence, if you have empathy for what it's like to be the candidate at the other side of the table, and you understand that that's what they're thinking and feeling, they're saying to themselves, I wonder if I'd want to work here with these people. Then here's what you do. And this suggestion, I'm not bringing this suggestion out of thin air. This comes from a whole body of research called evidence-based management research. So this is actually grounded in actual empirical research. First, the worst way to interview somebody is by yourself. The best way to interview somebody is with a panel. And who should be on that panel? Some coworkers. Because when this person is interviewing, they don't want to see just the boss. They want to be able to imagine, would I like working with this group of people? So you bring in a nice selection of the kind of peers that this person would work with. And if you do that, and you're the hiring manager, here's what your job is. Let everybody take a turn asking a question, and you observe really closely. And when you observe closely, here's what you're going to see. some candidates connect with certain people around the table. When you see a really good candidate that you wish that you could hire for your organization, at the end of the interview, send them on a walking tour of your office or your complex with the person that they most connected with around the table. Because the two of them will then talk about things that the candidate would never talk about in front of the group. They'll reveal more of themselves. And I've had candidates say to me that the reason they chose to come work at my school was because they saw that I trusted my employees to answer questions by themselves. So, in sum, if you are sincere, if you're empathetic, you'll hire the best people if you put yourself in the candidate's shoes when you run your interview process.